Final Four, Florida against Auburn, Houston against Duke. We are going to go deep into these two games. Teddy Covers will look at the Florida-Auburn game. Dan Kaiser from SportsMemo will take apart the Houston-Duke game. We're also going to talk about baseball, Cincinnati against Milwaukee, NBA, Golden State against the Lakers. We got some UFC bets coming from Kyle Anthony, Dave Mason from BetOnline to discuss where all the money is going on the Final Four, as well as some information for where the money is going tonight. Andy Lang, and of course, we're going to end the show with the great Gianni The Greek. I'm Lawrence Pressman. You're watching WagerTalk Today. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and everybody rise, the great Teddy Covers. How are you, my brother?
Lawrence, what's a good word today, my friend?
Well, listen, you made me feel bad at the beginning of the show, so let's get that over and out of the way. So Teddy and I used to do the show for 3-4 years together. Every day we would speak, every single day. And then Teddy left the show in December, and I haven't called you since. You've called me 5 times. Each time I told you I'd call you back, and I never did. I'd like to publicly and humbly apologize. I took our friendship for granted. I will call you on a regular basis. I'm coming to Vegas in June. I offer you an opportunity to spoon. And I just want you to know that I really do love you, and you mean the world to me, Teddy Covers, and I'm sorry.
Oh, Lawrence, that's such a beautiful apology, but our audience doesn't care. I don't care that much. I'm over it, you know. And by the way, 3 or 4 years, take the over, bro. 4.5 years I did this show with you every day. Yeah, it was time. And that's on the heels of doing another show with you previously for 2 years, which also, kind of imploded after 2. But 4.5 years of every day Prez is enough. Teddy, my psychological health has improved dramatically since we've stopped working together every day.
Well, and I needed a break. Anyway, let's get into some actionable betting information. Final Four is Saturday, 6:09 p.m. Eastern. That's not 6:08 or 6:10. That is at 6:09 p.m. Eastern. I'm curious why. Auburn is playing Florida. Really short line here. Auburn plus 2.5. Florida with an outstanding comeback, and a comeback that maybe propels them. I'd like to know if you take that comeback into account in your handicap. Total closing in on 160. How should we bet this game?
And of course, we broke this game down yesterday on Bet On It, the #1 show at WagerTalk. Myself, Joe Ranieri, Kelly in Vegas, and Marco D'Angelo all talked about Florida and Auburn. I'm going to give a shorter analysis today because we're shorter on time here. And look, the only time we had 4 #1 seeds in the Final Four came back in 2008. Kansas, Memphis, UCLA, North Carolina all made the Final Four. Kansas beat Memphis in that thriller, the national title game where they missed the free throws. Yeah, I still remember that because I lost a bet on it. That being said, in the Final Four matchups, the last time we had all 4 #1 seeds, we had 2 blowouts. Kansas beat North Carolina by 18. Memphis beat UCLA by 15. So even though we're thinking this is 1, 2, 3, 4, the top 4 teams in Ken Palm all in the Final Four. Teams that combined 135-16 record. All right. They are the 4 best teams in college basketball. Even with that, the concept of, we got to take points, well, history shows us that may not be the case. Of course, these 2 teams played once already this year at Auburn. Florida at the close was plus 11 in that game. This was back on February 8th. The Gators led by 10 at halftime. They led by as much as 21 in the second half. They ended up winning by 9. 5 players in double digits, 22 assists on 31 buckets, 48% shooting, only 11 turnovers against that Auburn defense. And Auburn did a lot of things right in that game. They had 15 offensive rebounds. Broom and Kelly combined for 40 points, but they didn't hit threes. They didn't hit free throws. And that ended up dooming their chances. We talk about this Final Four matchup here, the rematch between these 2 teams. And right now, Auburn is the betting bandwagon. You know, they had the late cover against Creighton. They had the cover against Michigan. They had the cover against Michigan State their last 3 games. They've rewarded their backers. Florida, on the other hand, they're only 1-3 ATS in the big dance. They beat Maryland by margin. Again, the Norfolk State game, they led 42-14. It was garbage time by midway through the first half. Ended up winning by only 26. But UConn took them to the wire at -9. Texas Tech took them to the wire at -6.5. But note what games those were. Those weren't the extra time to prep games. They were both the short turnaround games. So I think that the fact that Florida has full prep time here bodes well in their favor. I think 2.5 is cheap. I think the Gators are the better of the 2 teams. And if I'm playing, I'm laying in this one, Lawrence. I like the Florida Gators to reach the championship game and to reach it winning this game by 3 points or more.
Teddy Covers likes Florida, thinks the price is cheap. Teddy, you are rolling right now, brother. Congratulations. Outstanding little run you got. 7-1 in your last 3 days, up 19 units. Congratulations. 14-5 NBA run and 4-0 in baseball over the last 3 days. Let's talk about baseball, my brother. Cincinnati, Milwaukee, they're playing against each other. This is a 7:40 p.m. Eastern time game. Both teams 2-4 to start the season. It's close to a pick 'em. Milwaukee slightly favored, -118. A total here of 8. How should our listeners bet this game?
Sure, let's talk about the Reds and the Brewers for Thursday night MLB action. Look, Cincy won the first game of their series with the Rangers 14-3 on Monday. The last 2 days, they've lost 1-0 and 1-0. In fact, they haven't scored 14 runs in their other 5 games combined, only 10 runs. They had the 14-run outburst, the other 5 games, 10 runs. It's not an offense that we can say is clicking on all cylinders right now. The Brewers had that awful series in the Bronx to open the season. You know, they were hungover in their first home game on Monday, and then back-to-back wins over the Royals their last 2 games. They've righted the ship after allowing 47 runs their first 4 games, all losses. They had a nice walk-off in the 11th yesterday, a momentum booster. They did use their bullpen, which is a concern here for this one when you look at the Brewers. Now, from the starting pitching matchup, look, Lodolo pitched brilliantly in his debut. 6 innings against San Fran. Only 1 strikeout, but 13 ground ball outs, no walks, only 86 pitches to 23 batters. And last year, he came out of the gate in April. He was great. 1.88 ERA in April, 3-0 record. His only start against the Brewers last year, he allowed only 3 hits in that ballgame. And it's worth noting, Lodolo, his ERA is 2.5 runs lower on the road than in Great American Ballpark, at least it was last year. So from a starting pitching standpoint, there's things to like about Lodolo. Nestor Cortez, he got lit up in that first start. And I mean lit up. The first pitch was a home run. The second pitch was a home run. The third pitch was a home run. It's the first time that's ever happened in MLB, ever. And he gave up another dinger later in the first and another in the second, and he got pulled after walking the first batter to the third. If Cortez throws meatballs again, I'm going to lose this bet. But I think Milwaukee's 5 or 10 wins better than Cincy. I really do. When all said and done at the end of this season, I think the Brewers will be in playoff contention. I'm not convinced it's going to be the case for the Reds. Milwaukee's at home. They have momentum, and Cincy's not hitting. Milwaukee 9-4 against Cincy last year. 4 series, they won all 4 of them. So I'm a guy who focuses much more on teams than starting pitching. Starting pitching edge, clearly the Reds in this game. That being said, if I'm playing, it's Milwaukee. Yeah. I think they're the better team, and I would expect them to emerge victorious in this short favorite price range.
Teddy Covers joining us, everyone. You can find him at WagerTalk, exclusive handicapper with us. Awesome guy. Drinks tea, not coffee. Let's move on. Golden State against the Lakers. I was on Golden State 2 nights ago. Man, awesome freaking comeback for me. They're playing the Lakers tonight, Teddy, and I'm so fascinated about the West. I mean, just putting betting aside, I mean, who is coming out of this division? Jimmy Butler now on Golden State. They're playing great. The Lakers are loaded. OKC, Denver. Man, this is going to be a hell of a playoff, but we only need to worry about tonight. We got the Lakers at home. They're -1.5. You can find them on the money line at a short price of 125, give or take. Total here of 228.5. This game goes at 10 p.m. Eastern. How do we bet it?
Yeah, just looking at my Odds Logic live odds screen, I'm seeing 229/229.5 for this total. There's a couple of 228.5s out there, but the total sitting in the 229 range. And by the way, take advantage. Get a 7-day free trial. Odds. Just go to www.oddslogic.com/Teddy and get 7 days and check out the WagerTalk odds service. It is a good product. So this point spread's telling us right here, that there's respect for Golden State in this point spread. But the Lakers won, basically win the game, covered the point spread, and I think there deserves to be respect for Golden State. You read the quotes coming out of the team, and obviously Steph Curry went nuts the other night, but Draymond Green had triple-double, Jimmy Butler with 27. This is a team, again, 19-5 since getting Jimmy Butler. And you read the quote, Steve Kerr, Jimmy saved our season. The trade saved our season. Everybody knows that. But you watch what he did. Again, he's talked about the other night, 12 of 12 from the free throw line. Steph goes off the floor. We're running everything through him. Big-time defender, big-time two-way player. There's certainly a lot of positive momentum in Golden State right now, and they're not a team I have a whole lot of interest in stepping in front of. Now, the Lakers and the Warriors, everyone's trying to get one of the top 6 seeds. Once you get in the 6, you don't care. But no one wants to play in the play-in game. LeBron James, it's so close. People are jumping each other, falling behind, whatever the case may be. Obviously, our mission is to lock into a playoff spot. We don't want to have to play in the play-in, so we understand what's at stake. It's worth noting, Luka hurt his elbow. He got a sore elbow during the victory against Houston the other night. A very fortuitous victory for my clients and I. Lakers, not necessarily the right side in that contest, but they got the money when all was said and done, hitting a pair of free throws and then 2 more in the final 10 seconds of that contest. Lakers have won all 3 games in this series this year. 3-0 straight up, 3-0 ATS. That being said, they've all been competitive by 10 or less against the Warriors. That being said, Golden State as an underdog since getting Butler, they've only been dogs twice. They beat the Knicks in New York. They beat Milwaukee straight up. And this one was interesting. This is the last game of Golden State's long road trip. I went back and looked. What do they do on the last game of these road trips? 3 or more games. How about this? Last game of a long road trip. Warriors. Straight up win at Oklahoma City, plus 6.5. Straight up win at Minnesota, plus 7. Straight up win by 24 at Sacramento. They were -2. Straight up win at Brooklyn. They didn't cover. That's 4-0 straight up, 3-1 ATS. We're not seeing the fatigue from Golden State after these extended trips. Lakers have been great home favorites, 19-10 ATS in this role. One of only 4 teams in the league that are 60% plus as home chalk this year. OKC, the Clippers, the Pelicans of all team, and the Lakers. They've had 2 days off since beating Houston, and since that lucky cover against the Rockets. So they are more rested than Golden State. But it's definitely worth noting, Lakers had 4 sets of back-to-backs the last 2.5 weeks of March. This team has had a really tough schedule. I think the Warriors are going to beat them tonight. Give me Golden State plus the 1.5. I wouldn't argue with taking them on the money line. Although in this point spread range with the dog, I'll always take the 1.5 as opposed to a plus of 100 or plus 105 on the money line. The 1 point loss when you cash your winning bet makes up for the lack of juice in this bettor's opinion. So Warriors plus 1.5 is the only way I can look in this one. We'll see if we can keep that NBA rolling. As you mentioned, Prez, 14-5. My last 19 in the association, and just shy of 200 units of profit in the NBA since 2022 for my clients and I.
Teddy, believe it or not, I too am on a 14-5 NBA run. So me and you always aligned, brother. 7-1 in his last 3 days of betting, 4-0 in his last 3 days of baseball. What do you have going for the clients tonight?
We got 1 in MLB and 1 in NBA. Keeping it simple on Thursday. 2 best bets on passing in college tonight. You can get them both at a discounted price. Just visit my page, wg.buzz/TC.
Teddy covers as good as it gets. Man, WagerTalk has a team of sports bettors that rivals anybody. That is for sure. Teddy, Steve, Gianni, Andy, Crack, me, just on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Brian Leonard, Carmine, McGinnis. What a team. What a pleasure to do this show on a daily basis. Stay with us all the way to the end, guys. We've got 5 More guests still to come, including Dan Kaiser up next. He's going to talk Houston and Duke. But before we get into that, I want to talk about my new NHL show. It's called The Blue Line, and I'm doing it with Matthew Barnaby every single day. This show is awesome. We are getting incredible comments on this show. Not one single negative comment yet. People are really enjoying it. Basically, what it is it's an NHL betting show. But from the inside the dressing room's perspective. So, for instance, you have a situation. What is a sandwich game? Why do they exist? It's better to find out from ex-NHL players why a team has an off game, why a team gets up to play the best team in the league, but loses to the worst team in the league. What does it feel like in the dressing room when you're out of it and you can't make the playoffs? Will those games go over? Will those games go under? What is the mood like in the dressing room in Chicago, in Anaheim, in San Jose? What is the mood like in the dressing room in Montreal, Columbus, and the Rangers, all fighting for a playoff position? How do we take advantage of that and turn that into winning, bettable information? That is what we discuss on the Blue Line with me and Matthew Barnaby. Yesterday, we had Rob Ray, 16 years in the NHL. Tuesday, we had Mike Commodore, 14 years in the NHL. Today, we have a Hall of Famer. Jeremy freaking Roenick is joining us on the Blue Line. Now, we are only taping the show at 4 p.m. today. We normally tape the show at 10 a.m. every morning, and it is up at 11. We are taping late today because Jeremy Roenick needed it to go at 4. And, well, we're gonna make it work for Jeremy because we don't get guys like Jeremy Roenick on these shows very often. So that show will be up at around 4:45 Eastern time today on WagerTalk TV. Make sure to watch it. Me, Matthew Barnaby, and Jeremy Roenick, plus Carmine, will make an appearance to give out some prop bets. Dan Kaiser joining us. Dan, what a privilege to have you on the show, my friend. How are you?
Doing good. Yeah, it's been about, I think, a year since I've been over on this side of the tracks, and it's always good. It's always good to come over and carry the new and improved sports memo banner over here. And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and let's talk about that really quick because we have made a lot of adjustments over at Sports Memo. It's got a hell of a team. And you are our $2 expert over at Sports Memo. And you're rolling, dude. You're killing it in the NHL. 12-4 run. You got a 5% play up tonight. Guys, it's only $2. And please let us know what you think of Sports Memo. We have really done a lot of work behind the scenes on that site. Dan, thanks for doing this, man. Let's get straight into some actual betting information. Houston is playing Duke. This is the second of the final 4 games. It goes at 8:49 p.m. Eastern. Duke is -5.5 favorite. And listen, we can understand why. Not only are they destroying teams, but they have an army of bettors. So you're always going to pay a premium. We have a slightly low total at 136.5. How do we bet this game?
Yeah, I look at, man, this Duke-Houston matchup to me is very interesting. And it kind of plays into some of the cliches you always hear when it comes to sports betting. Like the first one, Styles makes fights, Styles makes games. The Blue Devils have the top offensive rating, according to Ken Palm, and they're 83.7 points per game, is top 10 in the country. Houston comes in, best defensive rating, and also the top scoring defense in the country, as they allow 58.3 points per game. I don't expect them to hold Duke to that low a number, but you never know. I guess it's going to come down to which team will impose their will in this game. And for Houston, I think they have to come out strong early and build a lead, because as you saw against Gonzaga and Duke, I'm not going to say they faded, but they go in these lulls, kind of like Michigan State, where they can go 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes without scoring, and the other teams are allowed to get back in the game. As you saw, they needed a last-second shot to beat Purdue. I think the number 2 thing you look at here is, Duke. They say, well, Duke hasn't played any close games yet. How will they react at the end if the game's close? Well, that's true. Now you could say that with most teams, but Duke is not a normal team. They have Cooper Flagg. They probably have another 3 other first-round picks on this team. So I don't think they're going to be overwhelmed by the moment. And you look at Houston; they're very experienced, especially in the backcourt. And I do like experienced guards in the big dance. The only question is, will experience overcome talent? So looking at this game, the teams have combined for a 64-2 overall record over the last 4 months, so it's no fluke that they're both here. Duke has steamrolled this whole tournament, taking away the other team's souls early and often in the contest. Let's face it, Cooper Flagg is a unicorn. He can do it all, and with the wing players Duke has, it's tough to score against and tough to defend. And unlike Alabama, Houston does have the defenders, and it would be interesting to see how Flagg does against JoJo Tugler, the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, 6'8", 7'6" wingspan. I don't think Flagg's anybody like that. Houston loves to play at a slow pace, and they're an excellent offensive rebounding team and the great defensive team. But this year they've thrown in the 3-point shot. They're 3rd in the country in 3-point shooting. It would be interesting to see if the sight lines at the Alamo Dome affects both teams shooting early. I don't have a play on the side or total just yet, as the line seems about right. And as you said, see if Duke money comes in on this one. I'll see how the line movement goes. So I'll probably wait, play something maybe after the first 5 minutes, get a feel of the game and play something in game. My 2 plays for this game are both player props. My first one is Cooper Flagg over 32.5 points, rebounds, and assists. While Flagg has flirted with a triple-double a few times this season, he has not got one yet. Since the NCAA started tracking assists in 1984, only 9 players have recorded a triple-double in the tournament, but none have occurred later than Elite 8. To me, this seems like the right spot for him to get one, the grandest stage, go out on style, but I'm going to just play the PRA prop in case, he comes up with 9 rebounds or 9 assists. I just figure if he comes up one short, he will hit this number.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play that one for a unit. I'm going to play a half a unit on LJ Cryer, 3+ 3-pointers. He's connected on 40.9 shots of his field goals, but 41.9 from deep. He's not bashful about firing up shots from behind the arc, even if they're not good ones. Cryer and Sharp both would need to hit some threes if Houston's going to keep this one close and have a chance to win at the end. So I'd like he puts up about 8 threes a game. So if he's halfway decent, he should make his 3. So those are my 2 plays on the game.
Brilliant stuff. Dan Kaiser, everyone. Cooper Flagg. Love that guy. You think he's going to go number 1?
Yeah, I do. I don't. You can't take a chance not to take him number 1.
Yeah. I hope it's the Raptors. Dan Kaiser, everyone. You can find him at SportsMemo. He is the $2 handicapper over at SportsMemo. This is his first 5% NHL play of the entire season. He is on a 12-4 run. That play is only $2. $2. That is the price of a coffee. No, it's less than a coffee. Andy Lang joining us, everyone. And Andy, it is less than a coffee, right? Like, what's a Dunkin' Donuts coffee?
Getting said coffee from, and are you adding anything in it? Is it an espresso? What is it? But yeah, a cup of coffee. Yeah, you can get it. You can get less for a cup of coffee. Listen, there's some gas stations. Damn. That's what I mean. Like, if you're in California, you're not getting a $2 cup.
Well, someone's got to pay for the product that goes into Noosey's hair, and that man has got some killer freaking hair, bro. I mean,
very fair.
He sits with Jeff Bridges on the Mount Rushmore of hair. So come on. Speaking of hair, Andy Lang, how you feeling? Are you done? Is the food poisoning over?
Okay, so yes, the food poisoning is over. You, me, and Matthew Barnaby talked about how it literally last week I read about how a 2-day or 3-day fast is like
Yep.
really healthy. And so we joked, I was like, I'm already a day and a half into it because I couldn't eat anything. So I might as well have kept going. And listen, I'm tired. I'm a little irritable and I feel great. I think I'm going to do this like once a month.
Really?
Yeah, I do. My joints,
So you
muscles,
haven't
inflammation.
eaten a thing? Like nothing in 2.5 days?
I had a little bite of cheese earlier today with a couple of almonds. And I'm telling you, man, this is the inflammation in the joints and the muscles is really, really gone. I tested my blood sugar this morning. It has plummeted. It's way down, which is a great thing for me. Kind of all in on this. So yay, food poisoning.
Wow. Let's keep us posted on all of this, guys. We got still 3 guests after Andy. Kyle Anthony's coming on to talk UFC. Dave Mason from BetOnline, a bookmaker, he's coming on to tell us where all the money is going. And of course, we're going to end the show with Gianni The Greek. So stay with us all the way through and hit that like button, guys. Really, really do appreciate that. Close to 200 of you are live in the chat room. Very few of you have hit that like button, which is very rare. Normally, we are closing in on 50, 60 by this point. So please hit that like button. Andy, we got to keep this show moving, dude. 6 guests in 45, 50 minutes. So I'm just going to hand the mic to you. Let's hear your prop bets for today's show.
All right, let's do this. 7-0 starts April. So I do have to brag about that. I mean, maybe food poisoning is the best thing that ever happened to me. 7-0 to start April. Real quick, if you have flex picks, today is an absolutely fantastic day to use us. We have a PFL event tonight with a best bet. We have a tennis best bet. We have an NBA best bet. We have a golf play I'm going to go over a little bit, and we have 4 darts plays. So if you have flex picks, today is an absolutely fantastic day to use us. I don't really talk about flex picks much, but today is a good one. Let's go to the NBA. Naz Reid over 1.5 made threes. Prez, I was going to use this as my $5 Tuesday play. I put the play in, and then he gets suspended for the night because of the fight. So we had to go another path. We cashed that one. But I'm going right back to Naz Reid. The handicap doesn't change. Over in 16 out of 20 games. One of the games that he went under, he only played 9 minutes because he got ejected from the fight. So he's well rested because he didn't play in the last game. In the last 20 games, he's shooting over 7 3-point attempts per game. He's making 2.5 per game, and he's playing Brooklyn. Brooklyn's one of the teams kind of like your Raptors that really should not be playing for much. Gives up 2.5 3-point makes per game to his position. So let's take Naz Reid over his 3-pointers. Golf, round 1 score. This starts in about an hour and 45 minutes. Akshay Bhatia, under 70.5. I've been watching the morning, and low scores are out there for sure. Prez, the leader, is -6, and he's not even done with this round. Our boy Tommy Fleetwood is -4, and sadly, our boy Matthew Fitzpatrick, well, he's +2. This course is really gettable. Super, super moist greens. Conditions are absolutely perfect. Bhatia won this tournament last year. He shot 63 in round 1, then 70, 68, and 67. He's up plus 1.79 total strokes gained last 30 days, yada, yada. Bhatia under 70.5 round 1 score. And then darts starts early. It starts about 45 minutes. I will be live going over all the darts plays as soon as that event starts. Michael Van Gerwen over Gerwin Price. Prez, have you been following the Premier League? Just out of curiosity, have you been following the Premier League this year of darts?
So if I say, are you out of your mind, would that be considered rude? Because I don't want to be rude to anybody. So should I go with no?
Yeah, just say no.
Okay.
Okay.
No. And honestly, Andy, it's not because I don't like darts. I don't like darts. There's just too much going on right now, bro. I don't even know where to watch the damn thing. Where do I watch it?
I get it. Well, I do a live show every time it's on. But anyway, let's get to the play. Michael Van Gerwen over Gerwin Price. Something has happened with Gerwin Price, and we are pretty convinced that something in his personal life is going wrong. Gerwin Price is he's a former rugby player. He's a tank, and he's really energetic. It really, like, when he has a great play, he screams at the camera. The last 2 weeks, he has been stoic. He's got his ass kicked, and he looks like he doesn't want to be there. I don't know what's going on with him. I expect we're going to find out soon that something bad has happened to him, but he's a fade right now. So we'll take Michael Van Gerwen over him. When you get these individual sport athletes that something is going on outside of their sport, it affects them. We talk about this with UFC all the time. So we're going to fade Gerwin Price with Michael Van Gerwen today.
Andy Lang, everybody. So, Andy, while you were talking, Johnny Detroit writes that I gotta look. He writes, I had AI put together a 3-day fast for me starting next week. Now, AI? Okay, Johnny.
It's
called a fast. It's called a fast. Like, you don't need
water?
any hell. Yeah.
You do have to do electrolytes.
What am I missing?
Make sure you take electrolytes because your body gets depleted and you do need those. You can do that with electrolyte tablets or some chicken broth. But yeah, Johnny and I love AI, but you do not need ChatGPT to give you a fasting recipe. Just put the fork down. That's what it says. Just put the fork down.
Yeah. That's like I read that and I'm like, I could just see AI come back with fast, you idiot. Anyway.
Don't eat. All right, I'll make this quick. I know you got a bunch of. We got an NBA best bet that is up. If you're only interested in one play, 43-18 NBA run this year.
Wow,
my bankroll has been transformed by NBA and tennis. I'm not kidding. 43-18 run in the NBA.
Wow.
We also have darts pack. Yeah, darts pack that is up. We still have that 4% parlay that is available on DraftKings and Bet365. And if you're interested, we do have the year special. It's marked down to $99 per month. Just reach out to me if you have any questions about long-term plays. I know it's a big investment. I'm willing to talk it out with you and see if it fits you. But for today, got to take advantage of NBA Best Bet. You just have to. The run is too strong. And flex picks as well. So WT.buzz/AL. Good luck on your plays. Let's have another winning day.
Love it. Frickin' Andy Lang. I spoke about him on Puck Time today. Check that show out. It's live. It was live at 11 a.m. Eastern. It's up now. And man, Andy, I talked about how great you are. I talk about how great you are like 5 times a week. It's might be getting annoying to people, but not to Andy Lang. We got 3 guests still to come. Kyle Anthony, UFC, Dave Mason from BetOnline, Gianni The Greek. Before that, real quick, Justin P. put up, Prez, can you drop the Blue Line show after Puck Time, not at the same time as Puck Time? Kyle, it's not a live show. Enjoy Puck Time at 11, and when it's finished, watch the Blue Line. This is not wrong. This is like asking AI how to fast. Just watch one and then watch the other. Kyle Anthony joining us. Kyle, UFC in full swing. How are you, brother?
Good. Looking forward to this weekend, but let me tell you something. I am not fasting. I like to eat, and there's no way I'm fasting. I don't see it. Unless, Andy, there's, some kind of food poisoning going on.
Well, Dan, if you do, Kyle, if you do decide to fast, hypothetically, you should ask AI to give you advice. Victor Henry, he's fighting Pedro Falcoa. Did I say that right?
Falcao, but you're right.
Okay. Who's going to win that fight? How do we bet it?
All right, so we've got Victor Henry. He is at -218 on the comeback here. We've got Pedro Falcao. He is +180. Now, this line opened up for Henry -180, and you've seen money consistently come in on Henry. And to be honest, I don't agree with that line movement here. And the big claim to fame here for Henry is going to be the fact on his UFC debut, he beat Hani Barcelos, which was a big, underdog hit for him. You had Henry, who was a +300 dog, comes in there, overwhelms Barcelos, moves forward, really smother him, and wins the decision. But really, since then, he's not really done too much. He's 2-2-1 over his last 5. He's only beaten Tony Gravely, who I'm not very high on at all. And he also beat Ronnie Yaya, who, again, not very high on this guy as well. And really the big overreaction, I think, is from Pedro's recent loss. It was his UFC debut. He came in, and the big thing that people got to remember, I think the market forgets, is the fact that this was his UFC debut on short notice, on days' notice, against Victor Hugo, who is a very tough out for anyone. And even with not preparing, not having his cardio ready, no game plan, he still was able to go out there and have a really good account of himself, going out there, making it a scrappy fight, and still it just was a good showing from him. But Henry on the other side here, he's a guy that, is going to push volume. He's going to push pace. He averages 8 significant strikes landed per minute. So that's very high, but he's 37 years old. He's going to be 38 in May. It's only going to get worse, I think, for him. I think the best days of him are behind him. And you've got Pedro, who is a good wrestler, has high-level jiu-jitsu, is a guy who can get these takedowns, will have a physicality advantage, very good top control. And I think that this is the spot where it's a dog or pass. I like this plus money here. I think that the line is off, and I do like this plus 180 number on Pedro.
Kyle Anthony joining us, everyone, an outstanding UFC bettor. Kyle, any promos, any coupons for our clients, our listeners?
Not this weekend. I do not have anything. I do have a 5% play up for clients. A 4% play up for clients this weekend. Last weekend, we did hit our 5% play for clients. It was a plus 100 play on Manuel Torres. He gets the first round knockout within the first minute and a half. Easy peasy win. Like the spot I have this weekend. Also another plus money 4% play. And always looking for those value spots, and love the plus money that we got this weekend.
Wonderful stuff, Kyle Anthony. Let's get into our next bet. Vanessa fighting Talita. I skipped the last names due to pronunciation issues. Who do you suggest wins this?
Yeah, so we've got Talita Alencar. She is minus 110. On the comeback, we've got Vanessa Demopoulos, also minus 110. Now, this is another line that opened at minus 150 for Demopoulos, and you've definitely seen Alencar money coming in. And this is another spot. I think it's a market overcorrection. That happens a lot here, where you've got a fighter that maybe people are high on, they lose, and then all of a sudden the market is swinging too much on the other side. You've got Demopoulos, who, came into her last fight, lost by submission. It was where her opponent grabbed her glove, lapse in judgment for Demopoulos, kind of looking at the judge, the ref, and starting to kind of complain about it. She gets submitted. Now she's about to face another jiu-jitsu specialist, where in Alencar, and I think that's why this line is, she was just submitted. People are looking at, hey, she gets submitted again. But there's many issues with Alencar. I mean, the first thing being she's really one-dimensional. She doesn't really have much else. She is a accomplished grappler who has transitioned over to MMA, and I just don't really see much from her. She's really a one-trick pony, and she's got multiple issues. She can't wrestle, not a very good wrestler. Also, Demopoulos is a solid wrestler, and I think she can defensive wrestle, keep this fight standing if she wants, or even offensively, and take down Alencar. The other part being the fact that Alencar has terrible cardio. She's someone who can't really push that kind of pace. We've seen her multiple fights in the past, end of the first round, beginning of the second round, she's already getting tired. And there's even fights where it's been slow paced, and she has still looked very tired, very exhausted. Now she's about to face a Vanessa Demopoulos who has cardio, who has wrestling, and could really counter a lot of the things that Alencar does. And I think she's got good top control. I think she can get the takedowns. I think we've seen Alencar play off of her back a lot, where that also is not a good thing. You're going to lose rounds that way, keeping it on your back. I like what Demopoulos does. Even if this fight plays out on the feet, Demopoulos is not the highest level striker, but definitely way better than Alencar. I think that this is a great price. We're getting definitely a discount on Vanessa Demopoulos, so I think I'm taking her in this spot to get the job done. And also, Prez, Vanessa Demopoulos was a stripper in Vegas. So, you don't want to fade a stripper in Vegas. That's all I'm saying.
You don't want to, it's the don't fade a stripper in Vegas angle from Kyle Anthony.
You got to do it.
Yeah, well, really appreciate you doing this, dude. I was a stripper in Vegas too once. That's a different story.
Was that in between your breakdancing? That was in between your breakdancing career?
Way after my breakdancing. My breakdancing career ended when I was 16, bro. So look, I stripped to get into the shower, and I was in Vegas. Kyle Anthony! Okay, Kyle, get out of here, man. Love having you on the show. We'll see you next Thursday. Dave Mason from BetOnline, everyone. Dave, Final Four is on Saturday, brother. Where's all the money going?
Final four, man. As usual, it's looking like we're going to need the dogs, man. We're getting beat up on this chalk. Very chalky tournament, especially these money line parlays. But let me see here. Florida, Auburn, 55% of tickets and 63% of the cash is on the Gators. Duke laying 5 versus Houston, 65% of the tickets and 68% of the cash is on Duke. Like I said, those all chalk money line parlays have been a killer for us, and looking like the popular play this weekend. 77% of money line parlay chalk cash is on Florida, 92% is on Duke. Has a little bit of sharp stuff. Houston +5, -103, a little bit on that. The Auburn, Florida under 164. That numbers moved a bunch. Florida -2, but Auburn +3, and then Florida -144.
Dave, what about futures? Are there who you need to lose?
We have a pretty balanced book. It's been back and forth. Let me see here. Florida's good for us. Let me get a refresher. This changes like every day. So much money comes in.
Of course.
Houston, nothing great. Duke, nothing great. Auburn's great for us. Absolutely wonderful. That's who we're rooting for. Florida next. Then Duke and Houston are both small loss to small win.
What about we got games going tonight? We have the NIT finals tonight. Any large bets that we need to know about for that?
Yeah, let me see. I think Chattanooga, I believe, is sharp. Yeah, Chattanooga's sharp +4.5. I believe, yeah, +4.5. That's now 3.5. The other two games, I guess Central Florida, Cincinnati. I guess that's the crown. Yeah, nothing too sharp in either of those games, but the action's been pretty good on those. Actually, a little bit of sharp on Nova -4. They're now -5.5, and the other game, nothing too sharp. Central Florida, Cincy.
And NBA wise, we've got not a full slate of games, but we do have 6 going tonight, including a big one between Golden State and the Lakers. What type of action are you taking on tonight's NBA card? Hello, Dave Mason?
From a sharp point of view, let's see here. Portland -3.5. Bucks, Sixers over 220. Hello.
We're here. We got you,
hello.
Dave.
Can you hear me?
We got you. Yes, we can, Dave Mason.
A little choppy on mine. A little choppier delay. Sharp NBA. Portland -3.5. Bucks, 76ers over 224. Grizzly Heat under 225. T-Wolves, Nets under 216.5. The overall action isn't much as it should, as of like a month ago, but with the March Madness going on and some of these games it's not meaning much, but the action will definitely pick up in a couple of weeks once the playoff.
Yeah, and of course we always talk about darts, big match starting in 45 minutes. I'm guessing you have at least $100 million in action on the darts setup for later on today.
Yeah, well, we take the action, and we don't take a lot of dart action, but we take the action. A lot of kind of sharp. Let me look at some sharp darts here. Sharp darts. And again, I know nothing about this. Sharp. Stephen Bunting, that's sharp supposedly. And Rob Cross, that looks sharp. Rob Cross at +175. He's now +150. And Stephen Bunting -105. He is now -115.
Wow. Lastly, Dave, ping pong. I watched a episode of Last Week with John Oliver. 2 weeks ago, we did a 20-minuter on sports betting, and supposedly people are betting the shit out of European ping pong. Is that something you guys are seeing over at BetOnline? Because now I'm doing a deep dive into ping pong betting.
It's crazy. That the whole ping pong thing started with COVID, right? When we were just looking for stuff to put on the site, and we noticed some book over and God knows where had this Russian ping pong up and Czechoslovakian ping pong. So we just said, what the hell with it? Let's put it up. And we were amazed by the action I got. But again, that was COVID. People were betting on anything you could we put on the site. But that being said, I mean, it's still big. It's still I'm amazed by it. Pre-sports not as much, but the live ping pong takes so much damn action. It's ridiculous. I really don't get the difference. Why that's kind of the opposite, right? Usually pre-sports dominates and live is secondary. But for ping pong, live takes probably about 6 times as many bettors as bettors, the unique bettors. I'm not talking bets, I'm not talking volume, but bettors than the pre-sports, which is amazing to me. So I don't get it. I mean, I haven't really dug too deep who these guys are and why that's the case. And we win, so it's not like it's all sharp stuff,
Right.
If it was just all sharp guys like picking us apart on such a crazy sport, okay, I could see why it's getting volume, but it's not. We do okay in it, we have our heads above the water, so it still doesn't make sense. Again, I haven't dug too deep into it, but there's a loyal ping pong market out there, so it's not going away on our site anytime soon.
Listeners, viewers, watchers, if you know an incredible ping pong bettor, please let me know about it. We're WagerTalk Media, and we want to provide winning opportunities in every single sport, whether we like them or not. Dave, last question, and don't worry, Gianni is waiting in the wings. We'll run the show late. Andrew Wadge asks, and Andrew's one of our best listeners like ever, a Mount Rushmore listener. He wants to know what type of booking you're doing on the Sean Perry Matzi versus Twitter Capper boxing rematch. I don't even know what he's talking about, but if Wadge asks a question, I need an answer.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you a quick history there. I mean, these guys are all fought a couple weeks ago. They're two handicappers, and they fought, and then they're supposed to fight a second. Sean Perry beat them up pretty good. Then they're supposed to fight a second time, but they ended up fighting. So I don't know if the fight definitely happens. We'll throw odds up there. We had odds up for the second fight, and we had, I forget what we had, like Perry open -400, but then the fight didn't happen. So Perry will be favored, probably right around -300 or something. But I need to figure out this fight's definitely going to happen, because that first fight took a lot of action on something that was just so last minute. So, we need to put a little bit of thought and time and resources into the fight if it happens. So this fight has to happen for us to offer odds on it.
Yeah. What do you got to promote?
MLB season is here. We have some of the best MLB dime lines out there in the entire industry. Many of these newer books want nothing to do with offering MLB dime lines. We still have them. They're some of the best breaks in the industry. I think they're the best in the entire industry. So, yeah, if you're betting MLB this season, and there's so many darn games, no sport's more crucial to get reduced juice than MLB, and we still have MLB dime lines. So come on over to betonline.ag this season.
Yeah, that's awesome, Dave. I want to do a whole show on MLB dime lines, because that is a disappearing entity. So well done. Shout out to you guys for doing that. Dave Mason, everybody. Love having him on. Let's keep the show moving. Gianni The Greek, you've got a fan in the chat room that literally waits all day just to see you. Maybe we should send him an 8x. Maybe we should send him an autographed 8x10. Blocked. If you know what? Blocked. If you're in Vegas, I will pay personally for a dinner between the two of you guys. You can pick the most expensive restaurant you want, Gianni. This block guy deserves to hang out with you at some point. Don't you love that I'm sending you for dinner with a guy? I'm staying at home and just paying. But you could be going out for dinner with a total psycho for all we know. But I'll pay the bill.
I'd love to meet him, brother. I'd love to meet him. Absolutely. Please, anybody that comes out here that's part of the Wager Talk crew, I love meeting people all the time.
Yeah.
So please hit me up. Reach out.
There you go. And just for the record, my favorite restaurant in Las Vegas is Piero's. You can go there, Gianni. I'll cover that
I
bill.
love it. That's old
I'll
school.
cover that.
As old school as they
Yeah.
come. One of the best Italian spots still.
Oh, dude, their steak is unbelievable. They have a Cajun blackened rib. Okay, let's move on. I haven't eaten yet today, Gianni. Dude, can you find us a ping pong bettor? We got to take advantage of the sport, man. It's so massive, and I had no idea.
It's growing and growing and growing. And honestly, I haven't seen any ping pong in any of the accounts that I have access to. And I mean, they bet everything, Prez, from women's rugby I've sent out. You know what I mean? But I have not seen any ping pong. So I don't know whether the limits were just too low, so none of the betting syndicates really got involved, or I'm not sure why. But usually those are the type of markets they look to exploit. You know, I've been betting more college baseball than regular baseball of late. Because we just have such edges in those, and the results are so good. I can't pass them up. But if I see anybody beating ping pong, I'll definitely reach out.
There you go. Gianni The Greek joining us, one of the greatest gamblers in the world. And if you guys have never heard Gianni, he's on every day. And basically the concept is Gianni moves money for some of the best betting syndicates on the planet. He comes on and he tells us where all the sharp money is going for today. So let's focus on today. You got NBA, barely any college hoops, but we got a NIT finals going. And you've got a huge slate of NHL. Where is all the money going?
Yeah, and if you picked apart the information yesterday, there were some winners in there. I finished 5-2 for my subscribers. So it's just narrowing it down to where there's still some plus EV. Here's what we got down on so far. And I have not released to subscribers. So they're not premium yet, but I definitely take a percentage of the account. So obviously I need these sides to come in. We got Portland minus 1.5 and 2 last night. And then again this morning, another group betted at -3 and -3.5. The under also got steamed last night at under 226 and 225, but did not get bet today. Those I'm always cautious about because the limits are so low on overnights. That's why I didn't send Portland out to subscribers last night, because a lot of times what will happen is they'll get that line to move up to that +3, where it is that one possession, and it's really the dog that they wanted to bet. And because I move for multiple groups, I'll see the other guys come in and like unload the other way. So I'm very cautious with overnights. And the second NBA game, again, another overnight on Miami, +5.5 and +5. So monitor how that line moves today, whether that was a case of manipulation or not. In college basketball, Chattanooga, just like Dave Mason said, we bet them. We also bet the under in that game, under 147 last night, and then this morning at under 146.5 and 146. Now, Villanova also, same exact situation, bet -3 last night, bet -4.5. They moved it quickly, and they still wanted -5 before I went to bed. Woke up this morning, and they're willing to take -5.5 on Villanova. So I know Dave got hit at -4. I know that happened last night because today they were hitting it at -5, 5.5, and also the over 151 and 151.5 last night. But then that wasn't high enough because over 152 got hit again today. Those are the ones you want to pay attention to, the ones that there's follow through the next day, especially if it's the move from the overnight. Now, there's nothing in NHL, but I do have some Major League Baseball. And I wanted to make sure I share this. Don't be afraid of seeing some resistance because you're playing with money lines. It's almost like the same thing with point spreads. When a line moves so significantly, you're forced to come back and try to hit a middle. It's just foolish not to. And if you have the power to move the market, why wouldn't you scalp part of your bet? Right. And that's exactly what you're seeing every single day. So real quickly, Colorado, Philadelphia, here's the total. They got steamed last night, and it just was not high enough. They laid -125 to go over the key number of 9, then laid the over 9.5 at -105 last night. Today it was -115 to go over that 9.5, and they bet it. Then they bet the over -120. Then when it went to 10, they still took over 10, but only up to -105. That's why you're probably seeing higher juice now. So they got over 9, over 9.5, and over 10 with zero resistance there. Baltimore, another one with follow through. Baltimore -110 last night. It was 115 when I woke up this morning. They laid the 115, They laid the 120. They laid the 125. They're also looking to go over in that game, but at 9. I wasn't able to get 9 last night. Most of the outs I have had it painted 9.5 already, so I couldn't get it, but that's still out there. If that could get a +9, over 9, up to -125, they will take it. And then Minnesota, again, follow through. -115, -120 last night, then 125 this morning. But the total wasn't like that. Again, remember, we talked about 7, 9, and 11. Those are the key totals you want to be on the right side of. They had 7.5 on the Minnesota total. They bet it under yesterday at -105 because the over was favored, all the way up to -120 to go under 7.5. But once it got to 7, that's what you're looking at your screen right now. They did not bet it. So they wanted to get the right side of that 7. And the same thing happened with Arizona and New York Yankees. They went over 9 up to -130. So they didn't want to go over that 9.5. I think there's even some 10s out there probably, but it was all happening last night. And like I said, do not be afraid if you see some take back, because again, Baltimore's bet at -110. They bet it up to -125. If it goes up to -135, 140, and now all of a sudden you could get +115, +120. Remember, a lot of the bet was placed at 110. A lot of the bet was placed at 115. So if you could even get some take back at +120, you have to do it because it's free money. You put yourself in a position where you can't lose a penny. You can only win. That's what you're looking for as a bettor.
Gianni The Greek, dude. I love that I can have you on last because we're always up against it. We had 6 guests on today, and you're such a pro, and you never complain. So much love for you, Gianni. Thanks for doing this,
Love
my
you
brother.
too, brother. Good luck.
Really, really appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow, dude. We got to get the show over with. We've got first pitch starting in literally 4 minutes, so stay with us for that show. It's a lot of fun. It's a hangout style show. It is live. It starts shortly. And guys, make sure to put in your phone, "Hey Siri, remind me 5 p.m. Eastern, Blue Line," because that's when it'll be up. Me, Matthew Barnaby, and Jeremy Roenick. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Marco D'Angelo will be anchoring our show tomorrow. We're going to go through March Madness again. Plus, we're going to talk NBA, NHL. So we'll see you tomorrow, noon Eastern time for WagerTalk Today.